hey, look at my empty space. That's because we are PCSing, and we are PCSing to Italy. And so this is the start of a mini series of my tips, everything that we've done, and just hopefully it can help somebody out there like us who maybe you are PCSing overseas, maybe you're PCSing in general, and especially anybody who is like us, where this is your first PCS, you're going to Italy. We've known for over a year where we're going, so I feel like I've had a lot of time to prepare. So I'm just going to share what I've done, what I've already learned as mistakes, what has worked really well for us, on to you guys on this journey. Okay, so taking a break from some of the mess of moving to start this. First off, congratulations on wherever you got orders to, because I know as a spouse, it's both exciting and terrifying to feel like you're finally getting to travel, you're getting to go somewhere new. Maybe a little bit more terrifying sometimes than others, because you're like, I'm leaving my home that I've either had for my whole life or X amount of years, and it can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but I feel like it's gonna be all okay. So I figured let's go ahead and just start with the basics in this video of just what it is that I kind of prepared for, what you can prepare for PCSing to Italy. A lot of my stuff is obviously going to be pertaining to Italy because that's where we're going, but you can take everything that I'm saying and apply it towards your place. It's just, obviously I'm just going to be saying Aviano. I'm going to be saying Italy a lot. So first off, when you get your orders, wherever you're going, one of the first things that I would say is to research where you're going. So when we found out we were going to Italy, found out the base, we did a little, let me get myself comfy. Like, so this is chatting, right? This is spouse chat. So I researched and I looked to see where we were going, kind of the area, just a little bit about it, just a little bit about Italy in general, because although we know what we've seen on TV and different things, I had no idea. So research a little bit of where you're going if you can, and if there is such a thing, join the Facebook groups that they have. So one thing I would say is whatever base you're going to, go to their Facebook page, like it, research, see what kind of posts they're doing, see what maybe kind of activities, just different things, see what the post is about or the base. Then when it comes to the Facebook groups, we joined ones that had both, Sean and I were able to join like a community page, you know, their spouse pages, all kinds of stuff. So we joined a lot of different things that pertain to us. Since we have a son, we joined the like babysitters club. So basically, what do people do for childcare when they want to do a date night or anything? We joined that community. We joined the regular community page, which has everybody in it, boys and girls. I recently joined the spouses page. We also joined the pets page because we do have a dog. So if we need information, just kind of how we would do for a pet, we joined that one. So anything that basically pertains to you, I would say just join it. And it's going to seem kind of crazy, but I'm telling you, it just eases a lot, because there's nothing better, I think, than being able to see what people are really going through, being able to get the word of mouth, because those are people living there. The military is, of course, going to give you their overview, their oversight, and different things like that, but you're not going to get the same sort of, I feel like, real deal attitudes and things unless you're joining these pages where people can kind of speak freely and they're not censored. I do want to say, if you are coming to Italy, specifically Aviano, they have a fabulous website that they've dedicated for people who are PCSing to or from. I will link it down below. It has got all kinds of information. It's very well organized versus feeling like you're scrolling through a million different things trying to find something. It's labeled very clearly. They've done an excellent job at making basically kind of like a real good welcome packet on everything you're going to need to do or expect. They also have an app that you can download to your phone, which also has other resources. And so I'll leave links to both of those things down below in the description box. I highly suggest, if you're going to Aviano, to get those. What you're gonna wanna do is just make a list of everything that you're gonna need to do as a spouse. Like, the active duty member is going to have their whole checklist and things that they gotta do, but there is stuff that you're gonna need to do. And so if you make a list for yourself, then that can kind of help you get organized. I'm the type of person that wanted to be organized. I wanted to know what it was that I was gonna need to do versus my husband. And so one of the things and the reasons for this is because my husband did go to Korea before we were going to Italy. So we're unaccompanied in Korea, and then we're accompanied in Italy. And so there was a lot of things that I was like, okay, there's going to be stuff that you're not going to be able to help us with, or that I'm going to need to get done and you're not here. So we went ahead and kind of figured that stuff out. Get your powers of attorneys for different things. So what I got power of attorney for was the general power of attorney. I got a power of attorney for moving your household goods. I can't even explain how important that is. You will need a power of attorney for the household goods. So in other words, moving your stuff. So if you're the person here at whatever base and your spouse is gone, when those movers come and they're taking things and you're signing for it, you need to be able to have that power of attorney, because if not, they always put it in the active duty member's name. You're nowhere basically kind of to be found on that. And so you could run into trouble. So just make sure you get the power of attorney for it. I also got the power of attorney for my ID. Make sure to check your military ID. My military ID expired the beginning of this year. My husband obviously wasn't here to be able to take me to get a new ID, because it does have to be usually the active duty member to take you to get your new ID. So because we knew he wasn't going to be here, we got the power of attorney, so that way I would not run into any issues and could get my ID. So just different things. Just look at maybe what you're going to have to do. Make sure you have power of attorney. I always feel like you would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Passports and visas, those I'm going to go into a little bit kind of probably like on their own. We're still actually in that process, and I want to be able to give you the full rundown, but just know that passports, visas, you're going to have to do that. When it comes to like bills and loose ends, so obviously if you're leaving the country, you're going to need to cancel cancel gym memberships, or, you know, figure out what you're doing with your cell phones or your utility bills and different things like that. So just make a little list of the different things that you're going to have to go to right before you move, to either pause them or cancel them. You're going to have so much going on before you move that you don't want to rack your brain last minute thinking all the little things. So while you're still calm, cool, collected, make that list of stuff that you're going to have to go to and cancel. So that way when it becomes time, all you have to do is just like check off your list. Things that you're going to need to do a little bit closer to time when you are supposed to be going to Aviano is you are going to get temporary lodging. So usually wherever you move somewhere, you're going to be able to stay in temporary lodging. You do want to reserve that, especially if you have a pet, as soon as possible, because we have a dog. There's a limited amount of rooms that they have that they allow pets. So I did call and I reserved our temporary lodging for when we were coming. You also want to look into the child care that they'll have. And what I mean by that is you are allotted child care when you PCS from the CDC. So it's like, I think about 20 hours that you're allowed. That's free. You don't pay for it, but obviously it's still on a space available thing. So if you can, try to make those reservations and call and see if you can get a spot at your gaining installation or your losing installation, whatever works for you. But make sure that if you can, set that up. I wrote down a little list so I didn't forget for you guys. I'm telling you, list will be your best friend. If you can, something I highly suggest is to attend the briefings that they give. So a lot of times they tell the military member, and I think military members think that like, oh, you know, like spouse doesn't need to come or whatever. As a spouse, go to it. It's usually something that the Airman and Family Readiness Center, if you're Air Force, will put on. And that's something that I went to with Sean before he went to Korea. But we were like, we didn't know that we were going to Italy. So we like took in so much information for like everywhere, because we didn't know where our fall-in was going to be. And then we looked at Korea. And then once we knew that we were getting Italy, Sean was gone. And I was like, okay, well, let me wait until we're about 6 months out from going, and then I'm going to go again. So that way now I know I can ask specific questions. So I did. I, as just the spouse alone, went to another overseas briefing, PCS briefing, so I could get more information on everything from TRICARE to just even what our allotments are. It doesn't hurt to be an informed spouse. And I really highly would suggest that. And I don't mean it in a depend way. It's just, it's hard. I think for one person, if you have an entire household, for us, this is our first PCS. If I put everything on my husband with everything that he's got to do, stuff would slip through the cracks. And so I feel like as a spouse, this is one of those things where there's nothing that's going to hurt you from being informed on the process or what you're going to need to do too. So if you can, I would definitely say to contact your Airman Family Readiness Center, ask them when they're having their next overseas, because it's usually like once a month, I think, or maybe twice a month, but it's like specific days. So just call them, ask them, and then they can always sign you up for it. The other thing that's the big thing that I think people talk about and that you're going to have to go through is the medical clearance. I'm trying to keep this video under 15 minutes, you guys. But so the medical clearance is the big doozy. Basically what the medical clearance is it's getting a snapshot of your entire medical history, any medical issues you might have. And what it is they're basically seeing if the place that you're going to is going to be able to support your medical needs. So it's not something to really necessarily like freak out about, but I do think like people need to be informed. It's also not to say that if you do have a medical issue, you're just automatically denied, but it could be a longer process. For us, we didn't have anything, so it was very smooth sailing, but I will say it was still kind of tedious. So basically you're given these big old packets, like especially if you see a provider off base, if you don't go on base, that you have to take to that provider. They have to be able to fill it out. It's everything from your mental health, your prescriptions, your history, it's everything. You'll fill those papers out. You have to also do it for dental. So you'll also go to the dentist. They'll also do a thing. Their sheet is way less. That's basically just like, are your teeth okay? Are they not? Are you going to have any major things? So I had to do that for myself and for my son as well. You turn it in and then you get like a little interview basically where they're going to look at you in person to make sure you didn't lie. But then also they're just going to once again interview you, just make sure like that you don't have anything or that you didn't like omit anything, or if you needed any help on any part of your like packet at all, then they're going to send it off basically to the base that you're wanting to go to. They look it over. They either say yes or no, that we will take on this new patient basically. So again, if you don't have anything, most likely very fast process. Like for us, we turned it in, I think did the interview on a Monday, and by that Friday we got the email that we were cleared and we were good to go. And what I would highly suggest that I did, and they thanked me for this, was I made appointments at the doctor and I sat with them to fill it out. Because if they're a civilian doctor, they've never done this before, they don't know what they're doing, they are quick to just look at stuff. And especially if you don't have anything, they just leave it blank. And the military does not want you to leave it blank. They want you to actually put the physical in A, you know what I mean? Like non-applicable. So it's nice to be able to sit in there with your provider and like go over page for page and just say, this is what they need you to fill out. This is what they need you to do. It just creates less, I would say, wasting of time, because like I did that for myself, because the civilian provider that I'm seeing, I've only been seeing for a little bit. I don't really have anything, so they knew nothing about my history. So I made the appointment. She thanked me for coming in and doing this with her. For my son, since he is a toddler and he had seen his pediatrician, I didn't make an appointment with her because I was like, well, she pretty much knows him, knows his history, and she messed it up twice. So I had to go back and forth up to that doctor's office to be like, nope, not done right, 3 times, you guys. So basically, I would say if you can, make the appointment to sit down with them so you're not wasting time. The other thing is if you have pets. So if you have pets, you need to research what it is that you're going to need to do for that country. Luckily, Aviano does not require quarantine, but they do require a health certificate. They require certain shots that have to happen within a certain amount of time. So that's another thing that's all on that Aviano link that I'll have in the description box, as well as the app. But basically, they're pretty smooth and easy sailing when it comes to pets in terms of Italy. Now, when it comes to getting your pet over there, that's going to be a whole video in itself. I will talk about when it comes to shipping your pet. Next thing that I would say to do is to get like a binder or something to start setting up your PCS binder. You're really not going to start filling it up until you're closer to time to leaving, but it doesn't hurt to get one and start to make sure that you have documents like social security cards, birth certificates, marriage certificates, just, you know, different things that are very, very important paperwork that you probably already have somewhere. Start to either get copies or whatever you need to do and start to have it in one singular binder that's going to have your whole life in it, basically. I would say give yourself the time. Like, I was somebody who was like, I would rather get everything done as soon as possible versus being last minute, because the one thing I will tell you is that I feel like when you wait last minute is when things can go wrong. And I always feel like, so far, for us personally, anything I feel like we've done with the military, some sort of hiccup happens. And so you would hate for it to be that you waited until last minute and some sort of hiccup happened with, say, like your passport or your visa, and now you can't leave because that's messed up and that's got to get redone. So anything that you can get done as soon as possible, I would say to be on it. As much as some people are going to tell you you're fine, oh, you're 6 months out, you've got time. You guys, I started the whole process at 6 months out of everything that I knew we were going to do. And by the time we were going to our passports and our visas, the guy told us we were actually slightly behind. So if that gives you any indication as to how tedious some of this stuff can be and how easy it is to kind of slip a little bit behind, just take it from me that you want to start as soon as you can, and do not listen to people if they try to tell you, oh, you can do this like, you know, only a month or so out from going. No, just don't put that kind of stress on yourself. And that is about it. If you guys have any sort of specific questions, you can always leave it down below. I will say that the next video that I'm going to make is going to talk all about the movers and packing. And so I'll give my tips and things that I went through with packing, with the movers packing, including a big mistake that I did, so that you guys can learn from that. I will also, like I said, make a video about our dog and specifically the whole process of PCSing with a pet so far that we have encountered. And that is, I think, about it of like major PCS things. I'm going to obviously document our actual travels and all of that kind of stuff for our vlog channel here as well. So just make sure to look out for that. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Everybody make sure that you hit the thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. I'm trying to upload every other day. So make sure to come back and I'll see you guys in the next video.